to do an interview with him.
I'm Alex Ferraro, owner of Lucky Luciano. I am a 12-year veteran to the breed of the American Bully, as well as a judge who has judged internationally as well as domestically. So I started in the American Bully breed in about 2009. A lot of people really didn't know me. I was a smaller camp. I started with Michelin's Federation and a couple guys out of Peoria, Ramon Sloan, Marco Pimentel. I started with some Gooch blood, some Michelin's blood, stuff like that, but quickly evolved towards the Dax line side of things. That's really when my camp took off. So what drew me to the breed was I met a guy who had a dog named Quimini. He is in a car accident. He bought the dog, didn't end up keeping the dog. Well, I bought the dog from him. I fell in love with it at first sight. I was like, oh my God, look at this dog. It had so much muscle. It had, you know, like a massive crest. Its shoulders were broad. It looked like a pit bull, but like with so much more. And the temperament was amazing. So yeah, I got my first bully and then I fell in love with it. It was love at first sight. And that's what really drew me into the American Bully breed. So I competed, and when I had Lucky Luciano, I showed Lucky to champion. I actually have 3 champion wins against dogs that went on to be very well-known grand champions, including Grand Champion Rocco, Grand Champion Jack, competed against Masterpiece. These were all amazing dogs in their time. And from there I got a Grand Champion Maybach, and we ended up finishing like number 7, 2015. And then I met my wife shortly after, and she's had a dog, Grand Champion Bowser, who is I believe he's actually the 2nd highest best of breed winning dog in the history of the breed. It's like 137 best of breeds. So being with her, you know, I traveled a lot, and the show scene was just where it was at. I actually, as much as I love the American Bully itself, I wholeheartedly love the American Bully community. So man, I spent, before judging, I spent 9 years in the community. And I've been an active judge for 4 years now. I have had the blessing of judging 33 different countries. I've judged Peru, Mexico, Puebla, Saltillo, Spain, Italy, Argentina, Russia. That was interesting. Russia was crazy. Like in a good way, not a bad way. It's just, to see Russia was just outstanding. Yeah, I've been all over Australia. I've hosted shows in Australia 3 times. There's pretty much, if they host dog shows, I've been there. I'm really excited. I've actually just got an invite to Slovakia where I'll be judging, and I've judged Colombia 2 times. I've had an opportunity to see so much of the world due to these dogs. Like, a lot of people don't realize the blessing that these dogs bring to people. Like, I was born and raised Peoria, Illinois. I wasn't ever supposed to make it out that area, and I've seen a vast majority of the world due to these dogs. It has been a blessing.
Biggest name dog.
Champion Lucky Luciano by far would definitely be the dog that was the pinnacle of my breeding career, as far as the dog that put me on the map. But straightforward, and I'm a realist, brother. The dog was produced by Mike Meza at Short Muscle Pits. I bought Lucky as a puppy. I, however, did campaign him, and every single breeding that he's ever done, I have signed off on and approved. So through him, I built his career, but I've produced several dogs off him. The best known dog that I've produced within my own camp would be Grand Champion Shamrock. He was produced off of a female that I owned at Tyme breeding, and Lucky. But he is a co-production with Brandon from Gym Rat Bullies, awesome dude. We decided to do the first inbred Lucky litter with the dog that we co-owned, and it produced Shamrock, Champion Chloe, Casino, and a dog named Nam, who's now in Australia. But produced some really nice dogs, and had my hands in on producing dogs. My best known dog is definitely Lucky, and right now, aside from Shamrock, who I didn't own or produce, Arthur Touche Lassiter has campaigned Shamrock, so all the credit goes to him. If the dog wasn't in his hands, I don't know he'd be where he is. But another dog I'm promoting the way I promoted Lucky in a production is Riot Luciano, and he is a dog that I spent 4 years creating the tools that created him to provide a generational headpiece that is just undeniable. I took Lucky Blood the direction I wanted to see it go. A lot of people have taken like last picks to last picks, and just I've seen my blood go away I don't want it to go. So I've been building in my own program, keeping litters on litters myself, not selling anything, just to create these dogs that are going to be seen over the next year and a half. we've built some monsters on the camp, and it's just progressively going to get better, and it's all generationally our stock. It's all double D's and Lucky Line. You know, the dogs like that are not born every day. You got to look at the people who really know what they're doing. Not everybody's going to be able to take a dog with a great pedigree and just breed it the right way. It takes a breeder to breed a dog properly, a real dog man or dog woman to put things together. So I'd say dogs like Lucky, you know, I'm not going to say 1 in a million, but 1 in a few 100,000. You know, just like Magoo is a one of a kind, and Grand Champion Rocco is a one of a kind. You know, there are dogs out there that they came on and they influenced the breed the same way as the base foundation of all the dogs I just mentioned. Grand Champion Dex, he came out and totally changed the whole face of the American Bully. So, you know, dogs like that come along. I'd say every 4 or 5 years there comes some hitters, and the way the breed is going, there are more nice bully dogs being born more dominantly now that people are taking their programs more seriously. I've noticed a lot of breeders stepping their game up, and I gotta say, with the community, I'm pretty proud of seeing the direction things are going. Social media makes it to where anybody can be whatever they want to be. They have their own persona online. You've got your Twitter gangsters, your internet gangsters, keyboard ninjas. You know, they like to talk about it, but they don't ever show up to the shows. They don't ever put the work in. They judge off of a live feed and then complain about what they saw in a distorted video. Social media has made it to where people can pretend to be something they're not. So, I mean, my overall suggestion is to anybody that's coming into any breed, whether it be French Bulldog, American Bully, English Bulldog, see the dogs in person. Go check them out. You know, go lay hands on the dogs. Go to a show. Come see the dogs that are winning every other weekend. You know, see what all the fuss is about. Come lay hands on the dogs yourself, and then base your opinion on it, because the internet definitely does give people a lot of abilities to lie about things. And the Photoshop generation, like, people have gotten really, really slick with this Photoshop thing. Like, they can do it on their phones, and I say go see the dogs in person and see what the dogs are in real life. And if you feel it fits what you're looking for, go that route. There's probably, I was just telling somebody today that the community is probably, you know, it's a split community. About 30% of people are actively showing between 2 or 3 different registries, and then there's probably 70% of the community that's not participating due to the negativity that they see online. They're not coming out to events, or maybe just spending $500 to go in a left-handed circle or square with your friends every weekend isn't their thing. There's a lot of nice dogs sitting on somebody's couch. There are dogs out there that could be amazing dogs in our breed, but are not marketed, are not promoted. So really, the person behind the dog has a lot to do with how far a dog can go. Do they market the dog? Do they promote the dog? Does the dog have the trifecta? Is it a wow factor dog that can be shown that also produces this look? Those 3 things will make or break a stud. But you could have a stud that could produce fantastic but's never been bred because it's not with a breeder. You could have a stud that could sweep shows, but you'll never know because it's never been to a show. So, you know, you could have a stud that wows people, but how can you wow people if you're never present? Hard to drop a jaw if you're not in the room. So for new people who are wanting to come into the breed and wanting to show, what I would recommend is that A, you practice with your dog yourself. Work with your dog in a happy, fun environment. Get the dog used to working on a leash and a lead. Do stack training 15 minutes a day. Excuse me. Really just work on training your dog, then work on training your dog for the environment it's going to be in. No matter how well the dog does by itself at home, going to a show that has 150 to 200 different dogs, that has all the different bass cannons and all the music going, all the dogs barking, bitches in heat. There's all these different variables that you can deal with. So take the dog to some shows, get it used to those environments, take it to parks, take it to areas, have other people touch the dog and get it used to being touched, because with the American Bully, this is a companion breed. So the dog should be confident. It should allow the judge or people to go over it and touch it. You know, these aren't guard dogs, so we don't want a dog that like bucks up every time somebody gets near it or shies away. We want the dogs to be happy and confident. So if you're planning on showing, I would suggest practicing your stack training, getting your dog used to proper socialization, and trying to get it used to the environment it's going to see in the show ring. First and foremost though, always present your dog at the best of your ability when you go to a show. Trim your nails, bathe your dogs, because remember, we're going over the dogs, we're touching the dogs. Those things are also important. A lot of the problems we'll run into with is we'll see people that bring dogs fresh out of a crate. They've never been trained. They think because a person's a handler, they can just give the dog over to the person, and this dog is going to do fantastic. It takes proper training to get a dog ready for show ring. As far as showing your dog, does it become kind of pricey? Man, I've campaigned a dog for several years. Grand Champion Bowser, my wife's boy, we've campaigned him a lot. And you're looking at about $500 a weekend because you have your show cost, which is $20 per show. So you got $80 there. And if you use a handler, you've got somewhere close to $40 per show. So now you're going $160 there. If you're traveling 14, 15 hours, you're gonna spend about $200 in gas. You can't just drive straight through, so you gotta get a hotel. So yeah, you've got to be really passionate about this and really want to do it. I tell people all the time, the American Bully for me is a very expensive hobby. If you're not in a position where you can lose money, don't think this is a cash cow and jump into it, because it's an expensive hobby. If you get to the upper echelons, yeah, you can make some money off what you're doing, but more or less, yeah, we spend a bunch of money every weekend to come out and show dogs because we love the dogs, we love the community. That's why the community is what it is. Like I said, I love the community. It's really awesome that people are willing to spend that kind of money just to come hang out with a bunch of people who love dogs. I got lucky with Lucky, no pun intended, and because I was blessed with that opportunity, I always pay it forward. So yeah. See, a lot of people don't know all the details behind Lucky. When I got Lucky, Lucky was he was the last dog out the litter. Mike had him available. And I really wanted a dog specifically off that litter because I had seen what Heat Stroke was. I was a huge Magoo fan. I loved G-Train. I was looking for a Dax to 100% edge female. And I hit up Mike Meza. I called him and he shipped me the dog when he was about, I'd say 2.5, 3 months. I got him and man, he had a little scar on his back, but I knew he was something special. I told Mike, I said, man, I'm gonna make this boy a household name, mark my words. And at that time, I actually owned Phenom's littermate brother. I was 217's Goldie. And he was a badass, but he was more towards the bulldog side of things, and he was only like 2 years old, so we didn't know Phenom was gonna turn out to be who he was. And when I got Lucky, I actually sold Goldie and set it up to where when I sold Goldie, I just kind of promoted Lucky. When he hit about 12 months, I did a stack off with Grand Champion Bistro, and Bully magazine picked up the article and they did Lucky versus Bistro, which I was just honored to be mentioned with the great Bistro at the time. So I was just like, oh my God, Lucky's being mentioned with this Bistro dog. And from there, you know, you just blew up. I went out every other weekend. I stacked up with every big name dog. I showed, I competed. You know, he champed in 2 shows. There was like some people that said he didn't finish and like it took like 30 shows. He champed in 2 shows. And then I showed him, I got 3 of his champion wins and he tore his ACL. And I pulled him from show for like 1.5 years. When I brought him back out, he just didn't seem to have the passion he had before. He just didn't seem to really care for the ring. And a few months later, I started working on becoming an ABKC judge. And I didn't want anybody to holler politics or think that, you know, I got where I did because of, you know, the dogs, because of who I was. So as soon as I decided I wanted to pursue being a judge, I went ahead and I completely sidelined Lucky's show career until I became a judge. On Facebook, it's Alex Ferraro. In parentheses, you'll see the guy who owns Lucky. You can type in the guy who owns Lucky and I will pop right up. On Instagram, it's the real SMP's Lucky Luciano, because like I said, he is produced by Mike Meza at Short Muscle Pits. But yeah, I'm pretty easy to find on Facebook. If you Google Lucky Luciano, my whole Facebook page and everything still pops up too. So I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. Like I said, just to do with the dog. I like to talk to new people in the community. I like to answer questions. I deal with a lot of newcomers to the community and really enjoyed my time in the community so far. I just pretty much keep it classy, Bully World. I appreciate you guys, and anybody that took time to watch the interview, we appreciate you. And anybody that shows love to Lucky, we appreciate you.